I am K.Kavitha, Assistant Professor of Computer Science, A.D.M.College for Women, Nagapattinam. Now see about the topic is validation. Validation control in ASP.NET. Introduction to validation controls. Validation controls means it's our more important and useful feature introduced by ASP.NET. This is are used to control and validate the given data. A validating form is most important part of website development. To check that given data is in specific format or not, we can use validation control. Using this control could be done in couple of minutes. It will not use long coding for validating data. Form validation can be done in two ways. First one, client-side validation. Second one is server-side validation. What is meant by client-side validation? It means that checking of data format or validation is done at client side. It is done by browser itself. If all the action of user goes to server, then the processing would be done on server side and then revert back the response. To send request each time and got response each time, then it would take too much time to get the page processed. To avoiding long time process, we can use the client side validation. It gives faster response to client. It is written in a script section. In ASP.NET, several controls are available to carry outside client-side validation. So, one is server-side validation. Server-side validation means the checking of data format or validation is carried out at server side. It is more safe than client-side one. ASP.NET provides some powerful controls to maintain server-side validation. Validation controls. The controls are used to validate the data against some input format are known as validation controls. If the data does not pass the validation, it will display an error message to the user and the user would not able to submit the data. There are 6 validation controls. What are they? There are required field validator, compare validator, range validator, regular expression validator, custom validator, and last one is validation summary. All the validation controls are derived from base validator class. What are the properties of base validator? Properties are its mean. Control to validate. That means it is used to set the control which we want to validate, like text box, list box, drop down list, and many others. Error message. It is used to set error message which will be displayed when validator control fails. Is valid. It returns either true or false after checking the validation control. If any of the validation fails, then is valid property return false. Enabled. It is used to enable or disable automatic checking of validation control. Text. It is used to set error message which would only be displayed on validator control. Causes validation property of button. We can enable and disable the validation check on button click. First one, required field validator. What is meant by required field validator? It is used to when we want some value must be entered for a particular control with a proper validation. It makes us to enter a value into a form control before submitting the form. If you don't enter a value in the form, it gives error. For example, required field validator is a username for login must not blank. This is the syntax of required field validator. ASP required field validator. ID equal to required field validator run at equal to server. Control to validate text box 1. Error message equal to username must not blank. We can also set required field validator using guide graphical user interface 2. Add a text control in your design view. Now drag and drop a new required field validator control on the form. Now set the properties of required field validator as control to validate equal to name of control, error message equal to message of error. Compare validator control. Compare validator is used to check value of two controls. It is used to check whether both controls have got same value or not. If not, then it gives an error message, else nothing. For example, password and confirm password. In this example, we compare whether both the password entered are same or not. Compare vector not only compare two controls but it also checks the data type of the control. For example, if we want that control have only integer value or string value, it is possible using this value. What are the examples of compare validator is confirm email address must be same, confirm password must be same. Properties and its meaning. Control to compare. This property is used to set the control which you want to compare with given control. Value to compare. This property is used to set specific value to compare with this control. Control to validate. This is used to set the control which you want to validate with given control. Value of control to validate and control to compare must be same. Value to compare. This property is used to set specific value to be compared with this control. Type and operator. Type means to specify the type of value which is you are comparing with the control. Operator, the type of comparison which should be performed, sum of the operator equal, greater than equal, less than, and etc. Syntax of compare validator. There are two controls. Compare validator, ID equal to compare validator 1 run at server, control to compare text box 1, control to compare text box 2, operator equal to equal. Error message, password must be same. Next one is range validator. Range validator control is used to check the value of control falls between specific range or not. The value can be type, numeric, data, string. Some example of range validator is input age within a specific range, input birth date within a range. Property and its mean. Minimum value. It is used to set the minimum value that these controls can process. Type. It is used to specify the type of value which you are comparing with the control. It checks that both the controls which are compared should have same data type. Type can be a string, double, date, currency or integer. Range validator syntax. ID equal to range validator 1 run at server, control to compare text box 1. Error message equal to age between 18 to 80. Type equal to integer. Maximum value 80, minimum value 18. Regular expression validator control. It is used to check value of given control against a specific expression. It is used to check the value of control against string value, numeric value and alphanumeric value, etc. Some example of regular expression validator control. To input mobile number is specific format such as +91 up to 9 numbers. To input a PIN code, code must be of 6 digits only such as 361002. To input an email ID such as the format is monarch.edu@gmail.com. To input a website URL such as http google.co.in. Validation expression property is used to set the expression format which user wants. To regular expression validator control are different types of regular expression symbols. Some of characters are specified as follows. /w which is used to any word character, that is alphabets, numbers or underscore. /d which is specify any digit. /D which specify any character that is a digit. /s which is used to white space character like tab or space. /s which is used to non-white space character. Rectangle bracket provides a range of character or set of character. Asterisk specifies 0 or more number of characters. Plus it specifies one or more numbers of characters. Braces provides a range of character or set of character to be included in the input list. Some other symbols are used in the format, that is asterisk -0 or more times, plus hyphen 1 or more time, question mark hyphen 0 or more time. If specified format is matched, then it will be returned true or false. Some of examples can be given as character and means. /w 8,15 which allows character length between 8 to 15. /d 6 which allows digits length of 6 digits only. YYNN, which allows character from caps Y small y or caps N or small n. B to E, this allows character between B and E. B to E, it allows except between B and E. B to E asterisk, which allows 0 or more characters between B and E. B to E plus, which allows 1 or more characters between B and E. Syntax of regular expression validator. ASP regular expression validator. ID equal to regular expression validator 1 run at server control to validate equal to text box 1. Error message, enter only capital letter. Validation expression equal to A to Z. Custom validator control is used to validate an input with user defined function, which is used to define user defined function would validate the user input. There are two types of functions, client side validation function and server side validation function. Server side validation function. This function is executed on server side and is written in code behind file in any of .NET supported programming language. The name of function is set in the on server validator property of custom validator control. Server side validation function. There are two arguments, object source and server validator event arguments. Object source, this gives the source name of the custom validator control. Server validate events, this argument has two important properties about the control values and is valid. Value means gives you the value of control, is valid means can be set as true or false. Syntax of custom validator. Custom validator ID equal to custom validator 1 run at server control to validate equal text box 1 error message equal text error message on server validator function name. Client side validation. It is the executed on client side and it is written in languages like JavaScript and VBScript. The name of client function is specified in client validation function property of custom validator control. There are two arguments, object source and object arguments. Object source means written only as a object source. Object arguments written as object argument. Syntax of custom validator. ID custom validator 1 run at server error message equal to text error message. Enable client script equal to true. Control to validate equal to text box 1. Client validation function equal to function name. Validation summary control is used to show the summary of all the validation control which are included in the current web page. This control is useful when we have a large web form which has more controls visible in a single screen. This control is used to get the summary of validation on the same page. Each validation has two properties named error message and text. Error message property is used as validation summary control. Validation summary displays the message that are shown when a validation summary control is validated or not. Properties of validation summary. Display mode. It is used to display the summary of all the error messages in different way such as list, bullet list or single paragraph. By default, the display mode is of bullet list. Header text. It is used to specify the header text for validation summary control. So message box. It is used to boolean property which is used to see error list as message box. So summary. It is boolean when it is true or false. Syntax of validation summary. Custom validator ID equal to custom validator 1 run at server error message text error message. Enable client script equal to true. Control to validate and text box 1. Client validation function equal to function name. Syntax of validation summary. ID equal to validation summary 1 run at equal to server. Display mode equal to bullet list. Header text equal to enter following details. Validation group is a new feature that was included in ASP.NET 2.0 version. The validation group helps to group the control of a single page into separate groups so that you can submit each group separately. Each group will have separate validation controls. Step 1. First, add various controls as per your requirements. Step 2. Define various validation for controls. Define validation summary. Step 3. Select a control and specify validation group using properties. That is, set validation group equal to group name for all controls. Design a login form with required field data whether username and password is not blank. This is the example of the form. Design a form. Required field username and password must not be a blank. Design a form to enter user mail address and re-enter mail address again. If both are different, then it will display a proper error message, that is compare validator. Design a form to enter your birth year and then current year. If the birth year is greater than current year, then provide a proper validation messages given, compare validator. Design a form to enter your month in income and monthly expense. If your expense is greater than your income, then it will give a warning message. Your income is less than your expenses. Design a form to enter two values. Check that which is number greater or less. Both are same. The second value is big or greater than 1. The first one is big. Design form enter a two values. Check that which number is small. Enter first value 50, enter second value is 5. Second value is small. Design a form, enter your age. If age is between 18 to 8, then valid or give error message. Age must be 18 to 18. This is the range validator. Enter your age 5. Check it is, the message is age must be between 18 to 80. Enter your birth date, range from 1st January 1918 to 31st December 2013. If date is out of this range, it will display a proper message. This is the range validator. For example, enter your age 6/11/79. Birth date must be January 1, 1918 to 31st December 2013. Design a form with text box to enter only capital letter, text box to enter only small letter, text box to enter capital and small letters, text box to enter only digits, text box to enter capital, small letter and digits only, text box to enter alphabet with dot. This is an example of enter only valid date of text box. Validate email address using regular expression. Enter email address monarch.edu. Valid email ID is entered. The message will display enter only valid mail address. Thank you.